Okay, so now we have everything we want to in our OpenStudio model. We have our boundary conditions set, and we are ready to run a simulation. So what we're going to do is go to our run manager. I'm going to uncheck design days. Those are something you would use to help size your system by having a day, summer and a winter day, where the loads in the building are, everyone's in the building for a longer amount of time and the machines are running, and you make sure that your system is sized appropriately. So that's one of the reasons for design days. But right now we're just going to run the weather simulation file, and I have to load an EPW. So I'm going to go to my computer and C drive. I'm going to go to EnergyPlus weather files. We have a few that install with EnergyPlus, but and here I haven't geolocated my model. That's going to be a separate tutorial. But I have quite a distance between where my model was located and where I picked a weather file. So I'm going to say yes, you can relocate my model to Golden instead of what I believe is Chicago. And if you need more weather files, you can click here to download them, and you can look on Google Earth actually as a KMZ file. So I'm going to set this just to run a month instead of an annual simulation, and I'll explain that in a little bit. This looks different than it has in the past. Right now, this is the actual IDF text that EnergyPlus wants for requesting these variables, which right now are just the inside surface temperature and the outside. I'm going to run a simulation, and it's going to give me a file called an RDD that is going to list all these other variables I can use. So it's something that you didn't have easy access to before, but now I'll show you how to load in all these other variables. And then you can actually, on a separate tutorial, I'll show you where you can find the change the settings for hourly to something else like monthly or daily. So anyway, right now I'm going to actually hit apply and save my model. The reason I did that is just in case for some reason I forget to save later, this will now associate that weather file or that path to a weather file with my OpenStudio model, so that when I come back later I won't have to retell it what weather file to use. Because sometimes you're between two weather files, and you chose one for a reason, and you want other people who open your model to know that, so they don't rerun the simulation using a different weather file. This readvars will create a CSV file, and the RVI file will let you customize the order of the columns in the data. So that's important if you want to load data into Excel and analyze it on your own. We have a results viewer as well as the SketchUp plugin and tabular data that opens up in a web page that you can use, and I think that'll be adequate for a lot of users, but some who want to take it farther will use these, but we're not going to. We're just going to click run. And a status dialog is going to run up, and you notice it was briefly green and then it stopped and it said idle. That doesn't mean our simulation's done. We're working with an OSM file. EnergyPlus needs an IDF file, so what finished initially was the conversion of the OSM to an IDF. And then down here we can actually see EnergyPlus is running. We also see local jobs running 1. And I can look at the standard output, and it's what we're used to seeing that would normally be in the DOS command or the terminal if you're on a Mac. So I'm going to go back to details. And it's still running, but we should be done here in just a second. Okay, so now it's done. This went to 0. This is an RDD file. I'm actually going to address that in just another video so that this one doesn't get too long, and it'll show you how to request extra variables. And then after that, we'll do a video looking at the full simulation results.